I go by the name of Sholi the Holy One right now with my brother, director Edwin Escobar. How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem, man. Good to see you. I want to talk to you about the film that you have coming, and a lot of people know you for directing music videos, and for a long time, you've been one of the premier directors for hip hop, R&B, alternative videos, and people telling their stories. And now you're doing short films and cinema, and what's brought you there? Why?
So I've been helping artists mainly, sometimes businesses and individuals, but artists of all kinds tell their story, right? Whether it's song by song or in a macro level, help kind of shape their brand in one
Hmm.
way or another. And I did that for I've been still doing that 14 years on. But film is the way for me to tell my stories, to graduate to a different level of storytelling. And again, now I get to tell my stories and also help others, writers, tell their story in a very different and I think more impactful way.
That's awesome, man. And growing up in Bridgeport, I always felt like the arts community, the performing arts community, was underrepresented, and it didn't get the attention or even the funding that it deserves. So how do you feel like you can contribute to that or affect change in that sector?
So one of the goals that we set for this being my fourth original was to again write a longer screenplay to meet the requirements of a pilot,
Mm.
but also just be long enough to be worth a grand premiere. We set from the beginning to do that, right? We set ourselves up to use all the resources that we do have, from businesses to all the actors in the area, to makeup artists, to gaffers, to PAs, and they're available. They're there,
I love
and
that you speak to that, and I don't think people understand the magnitude or the depth of an industry. So film is an industry,
yep.
and I think a lot of people on the surface level would think of actor, director, but I want you to allude to how many different careers exist within that, and how many people were on your cast and crew total.
So we had, including the main roles and even the extras, it was 16 people.
Okay.
And cast and crew was at least another 10 to 11, counting everybody that put an hour in, including the guy that rode around with the rig, with the driving car and everything.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's almost 30, if I'm not mistaken, altogether.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And like I said, you made your bones doing music videos and commercials. What's the biggest difference between music or commercial and cinema?
So obviously, with music videos, especially right now, you can do an iPhone video, and with the right hashtags, the right trending, you can really get numbers and response. And if you're telling a story, specifically talking about art, can't be mad at that, right? I'm a cinematographer. I love good cinematography. There's the younger generation that's doing more interactive,
Hmm.
organic stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're telling a story and it makes noise, you did your job. So with film, it's not that easy yet, right? You still need a good screenplay. You need a few people in a budget that's above the usual,
Hmm.
And I'm just talking our market right now. I mean, the numbers that we use in right now are they'll pay for one day of catering in a film set.
Hmm.
But for us, we did a full film with that. But it's not as automated and as accessible, right?
Yes.
Which that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? To create it. But yeah.
How is your approach different as the person behind the lens? How do you approach a music video, or how do you approach cinema differently than you would a music video?
So I mean, there's a component that makes the difference, right? And that's the dialogue. I think that's when you want to really talk about specifics.
Mm.
Dialogue is what carries a film. If you remember, I brought you in when I did my third COVID film, right? Which is during COVID, where we really had
Yes.
very little to do. And I needed your perspective as a writer, because I was writing about people, and I don't want to speak for people or in situations that I never lived, right?
Hmm.
So that was very important. So with a music video, you can tell a story with body language.
Yes.
and the song tells a story already. So you really just got to make sure you don't do any disservice to the song and you complement it.
Yes.
With film, it's from scratch. You have to, the first time you see the first frame, it has to lead you into the next one and the next scene, the next act, and it has to feel like you one thing and not pieces of, production that we know how it works.
Okay, so the film that you're releasing on January
7th.
January 7th, you having the premiere.
Yes.
Where at?
So we're having the premiere on January 7th. 1 p.m. is when it starts, and it's at Decline, the very historical Klein. Me and my team talked to at least 12 different venues in and out of Bridgeport. We eye the client at the Film Fest, at the Bridgeport Film Fest. Shout out to the Bridgeport Film Fest. And, we spoke. We went through all the process, and we looked in different places, but everything worked out at Decline, which is really good.
All right, so let's take a step back. You've been doing videos and cinematography about 15 years, give or take.
Yes.
And sometimes, and I'm an artist, so I relate. Sometimes you get so caught in the minutia and you get so caught up into the grind that you don't realize what you've done and how much progress you've made, and based on where you started from versus where you are today.
Right.
So, what does it feel like if you take a step back and say, "Okay, I got a full film and a premiere at the legendary Klein Memorial in your home city"?
So
how does that feel?
it feels. I mean, it feels like an accomplishment. Obviously, we haven't gotten there yet, as far as the day of, but everything is set up for it to happen. So we're not gonna pre-celebrate, but it feels great to just the fact that we have the place booked, that we're working on the promotion, and that already feels like a good little time to give yourself a pat in the back, right? And I'm also proud of. I mean, and again, I don't usually stop and do self confirmations on the mirror or nothing, but one of the reasons we are even here is because I did open up to things that I probably wouldn't have 5 years ago. Working with people, trusting people to make decisions without you in the room. Just following directions, not blindly, educated, but listening to the people you're gonna trust, because there's nothing more frustrating than hiring someone or letting someone take a role and then just completely ignoring their advice over and over.
Yeah.
So it's like micromanaging, or if you ever work in any job with like your supervisor just redoing all, it's discouraging.
So this feels more like a community.
Absolutely. That couldn't have happened even if I had all the money in the world by myself. There's no way I could have done it. So everybody involved is committed in it. There's skin in the game. There's investment, time, because no one's sitting around. Everybody's got a job, a family. We're all now older, right? Most of the people that are really, really committed to this have families, commitments. So it feels good to open up, but that let other people open up to possibilities. I have people that never got involved in film or investment or anything like that, and they're in and out.
And they buy into you.
They bought into me, my brand, and I'm glad my reputation's been good enough and you have to use it. What's good to create this social credit if you're not gonna use it?
Absolutely.
That's an 800 sitting.
So let's talk about Left.
Yes.
If I don't know you from a can of paint and I don't know any of the actors, why should I come to the premiere, and why do I want to watch the film?
So boom, the film and the premiere, right? The film, I want people to watch the film because it's my own perspective on mental illness, which is a theme I'm following, and I'm gonna do a couple different projects related to mental illness and present it in the way that you can kind of get an idea of what it might feel like. So scary movies, thrillers, suspense movies. Most of the stuff is repetitive. The little kid in the house in Connecticut. That formula works, so people are gonna do it, right?
Definitely.
But I didn't want to base it on the demonic or paranormal, right? Because I'm not that into that. It's not really. A lot of people don't buy into it either. So I think there's nothing scarier than the reality of mental illness or mental conditions or just losing your identity. And dementia is one of those things where you don't know what's happening in the person's head. So the film is an attempt to kind of carry you through this scary 24 hours of this person's life, where you start questioning what's happening and you start wondering who's who and which one is the real character, which one is the real person, who's talking for who, and then it kind of makes you feel a little out of your wits.
And the main character, Stephen Edmonds,
Yes.
Sam, you built his character up to be kind of in conflict or
Yes.
turmoil, it seems.
Yes. So there's a lot of issues that he has with this father. He's looking for his father throughout the film, not like the father that left for milk, but like his missing father that it's older and has dementia, and he turned up missing from his home. So this is almost an estranged son who has a lot of resentment, but he's still gonna do the right thing. But he starts to question all these memories and all these things that make him cold and absent. And again, I can't say that much more because then it kind of gives away. Even if I give it away, it leaves you in a little bit of suspense.
Okay.
But yeah, he's in conflict with himself. He's in conflict with his reality. Um, and then you'll see at the end a little curve where when he kind of starts making peace, or we actually start making peace as the viewer, right? If we step up as the viewer, you start making peace with what he's going through.
Okay. And you've dealt with that in your real life, or?
So I see my grandmother go from, I always lived with her. She was a matriarch. She did the impossible to raise 9 kids, migrated here in her 70s, which is insane to change cultures and language. But I saw her be a tall, stand-up lady to diminish with lucid moments where she realized she couldn't walk anymore. So, until it was a shell of who she was, right? The little pieces of her personalities were just slowly disappearing. And I always wonder when she wasn't lucid, what moment was she living in? When people with this condition talk about people that already died, right? One of the symptoms, or that when you know someone has Alzheimer's or dementia, they start talking about a brother or sister or father that died 50 years ago, right? So in my head, I'm always wondering, I wonder if they're living those moments and the brain is just stuck there, right? Physically, your brain is falling apart, right? And you live in the circuits are still working, and your reality is whatever your brain makes, right?
Yes.
So their reality might be that. It might be a happy moment. It might be a nightmare, right? I went to do a video shoot at an elderly home, and I was walking to one of the rooms, and as I walked, there was a door open. There was this lady facing the wall in a chair. I'm like, I wonder what this lady is reliving right now, right? Is she stuck in a really happy moment of her life, or is she stuck on like a nightmare? Where is she stuck on a house fire that happened 50 years ago and that she can't get out of, or is she stuck in a prairie playing with her kids, right?
Yeah.
Those could be, but we will never know
And that's
because they're
deep.
just boom. So that's an attempt for the film too, to kind of again attempt to with my assumption of what might be going on in your head when you are inflicted by the condition.
That's deep, man. And what do you want people to walk away from the film with?
Well, I want people to, for one, relationship with parents, because there is a conversation about that in the film. Not a conversation, but it's the undertone. And as they get older, their personality change, and it might be dementia or Alzheimer's or just aging, but their reality starts moving away, from our reality. So it pays off to take your time and try to understand more, right? I do want people to walk away with the idea that this affects everybody in your circle, right? So if you're the mother or the father or the brother with the illness, it really does affect everybody. I didn't know that until I started promoting the just the production and the crowdfunding and all that.
Yes.
Everybody related to it.
I imagine, man, a lot of people go through silent battles that they don't really talk
Yeah.
about out loud. And,
Yeah.
you give people a platform to support a cause that they identify with. And I'm sure the love that you got was overwhelming, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a lot of press for it. I got a lot of conversations, a lot of messages of like, I know, you don't even know how this hits right now. My grandmother passed, or my father has this. I'm just learning to deal with this, and it started a conversation, and it really, uh, I guess, it stamped my mission, writing and putting this film together.
That's awesome, man. So, let's manifest that this is going to be a great success. Where do you go from here?
So, going back to one of your questions, so one of the goals, on the business end, because we do run businesses, and the people that help have businesses, the people that sponsor are doing it to get a return on their businesses, and the people that put their time in want to see themselves in a better light, to put themselves in a better place to do what we all do, which is earn and take care of our families. So that's a reality, right? We
Absolutely.
love what we do, and nobody ever came up and said, "Yo, where's my ticket?" or "Where's my money?" or "Where's this?" People are coming in for the love, but I'm not blind to the fact that when you put your time and money, I'm very appreciative of that. So one of the goals is to, when we're done with the premiere, um, we want to have a very healthy profit and loss sheet, right? Because that's gonna be our business model to continue to fund these, right? I might be a little early, but me and my executive in charge, Sheldon, we've been talking about a nonprofit specifically with the mission of having a fund for people that want to tell a story. Like as a artist, right? One of the biggest or hardest conversations to have, or the ones that are hard to have, and you kind of got to dance around, is financing.
Absolutely.
It's like great ideas are great ideas, but they can't get into development without a budget. Sometimes people put their time, sometimes people do believe in something that they just move everything aside and jump into it. But the reality is there's services involved with everything, as simple as turning your idea into a screenplay.
Yeah.
Those are hours we got to put in,
And I
right?
know that would be awesome. Like I said, I'm from here, and when you speak to funding, sometimes you don't even know who to go talk to, if anybody at all.
That was a challenge when we were crowdfunding. I've always felt this embarrassment, a weird feeling of jumping in people's DM, like, I'm doing a movie, give me some money, because I'm a director. I've been doing it for so long, but like,
Yeah.
and not to be I don't want to repeat things without knowing what they mean, but you really don't use your own money. Now, I'm not saying that in the sense of scamming or just getting everybody to put in the pot, because you still got to put your time in.
Yeah.
But
You're speaking to the difference between the role of a director and a producer.
yes,
Okay.
yes, and that I had to jump into that role and get comfortable with offering value instead of feeling like I was asking for money, because I wasn't in the corner asking for money, but it felt like that. We all create our own little boxes.
But I
right?
like that you I like that you traverse that path, because a lot of times without there being the industry, there's a ignorance that comes with that, where people just say, "Why don't you just make a movie?" And they don't even have the slightest idea how much time, money, effort, extras, food, and everything goes into it.
Yes,
So
yes.
with you learning that, what would you say to the people who think it's just go shoot a movie?
So I'm gonna start with this. I've been hearing that forever, right? Uh, Before I knew what it took, and after I knew what it took, it's still the same. Like when COVID came, I had to ask myself the same question. It's like, why don't you make a movie? You got equipment that costs money that you be using, but right now people fighting over toilet paper. Nobody's moving. You can't even go to New York. You can go to LA, where I make most of my revenue. You can't travel. You can't work right now. Those things echoed in my head. I was like, why don't I make a movie?
Yeah.
And I did take my first step. It was a 10-minute short, tenant, great reception, small premiere, but it built me up to where I am right now. So it had value. Those things have value. But when people
Definitely.
do say that blindly, it can come from so many different places. But if you truly are saying that to someone, not just me, if you're saying that to someone as a form of like love, like, yo, when you gonna drop your album, right?
Yeah.
Like, it takes a lot more than moral support.
100%.
So just know that, again, that was my conflict with asking for money. It was like, yo, a thank you will be great, a share will be great. Uh, how does the saying go? We like the kind of jingles, but we rather have the types that folds. So, but after like 3 or 4 really like cringy moments of like, hey, how you doing, man? And believe it or not, the first 5
But
people that I hit,
you have to get comfortable with hearing
you
no.
have to, but the no's came with like, bro, I would love to, I can't. I would, but I'd do a share, and I wish you the best. And then I felt like we have rapport. It was
Yeah.
like, yo, thank you. No, I'm just, I'm doing my thing. This is
Nobody
not
is
my usual.
saying get out of here. Don't ever
The
ask me
first 5
again.
people did text me, because I did it on Facebook.
Yeah.
The first 5 people that hit up
Yeah.
text me like, yo, you got hacked. Because they're so not used to that.
Yeah.
Like, no, I was like, no, I am doing a movie. I'm listening to this to my producers. A lot of people are invested in it already. So I kind of gotta take the jump. But it was me though. So
Okay.
after that is like you send a bunch, and then some people don't respond. It, they saw it, and you don't know what people are doing. Maybe they don't have the words. Maybe they're they on their last dollar.
Yeah.
Or some people just really, not everybody's gonna see your vision
Of
either.
course not.
But that's okay, because if you focus on those, you're gonna lose out on the people that do. I hit up people that I thought about it twice, and they ended up being huge supporters, and people that I saw on Facebook once in a while, and because of the amount of interactions I was having, they kind of woke up a group of people that I didn't have interactions with, and then those people came full blown again. I'm like, oh, I thought you left Facebook. It was like, no, we just the algorithm
Yeah.
keeps everybody boxed in, and that's one thing that kind of opened my Facebook up again. Just doing those interactions.
So
Kinda,
so the fundraising is personal.
yeah, yeah. It's very personal.
Okay.
And it's there's a template for it, like everything else, but then the follow up has to be real. Like,
So what do you say? We just spoke to the fact that funding is a major turnkey and obstacle for a lot of people. What do you say to the? I don't even want to say the kid. What do you say to the person who has a talent in the realm of arts that doesn't necessarily have the backing or the funding? What do you say to them to try to figure it out?
so there's a lot of resources. A lot of them are, I believe, predatory, but it really has to do with your personality. Um, you really just have to feel good about what you're doing, right? So it's kind of cliche, like don't pursue the money from the beginning, meaning don't do certain things. I mean, that's called an entrepreneur, right? So if you can invest in businesses you're not passionate about, and by all means, that'll work. Like you should do that. Actually, that's another way to create wealth for you and your family and put the dollar back in your community, right? But when we talk about art and your passion, you have to really like love and have no embarrassment of releasing, right? My first music video, I did not want people to see. I felt like who am I to be doing this? Like,
Yeah.
even though I knew these budgets were completely crazy, especially we talking 2005. Video average was still 150K.
Yeah.
Right, and that's low ball, right?
So you had like imposter syndrome in a way.
I had imposter syndrome. I'm like, and then I got some good feedback from people around me. There's some people that didn't know what to say because they didn't. Some people didn't believe I made the video. Only the people that were there really, but because it came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
I'm just me. I wasn't known for none of this. I was just a friend, the person that we play video games, skip at my house, eat Chinese food, and then I'm like, yo, I made a video with these guys. Look, and they're like, how? Like, so it's this like, which is it's the deeper conversation if you want to get into proximity. And
Yeah.
I went to high school with him. Oh, you doing your little thing? You know how that goes.
Of course.
Can't help it though, because it is a bit of like damn, he's.
But you've ascended past that now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because again, through the set of interactions I've had just talking about the film, I'm having interactions with a lot of strangers where I don't feel like my friends or the circle that been supporting me for years owes me anything.
Yeah.
So they don't have to put money. They don't have to even share anything. And it doesn't feel like shade. It just feels like without them, I wouldn't be here, right? And then that's a lot of pressure to put all your friends, everything you do.
I don't think a lot of people realize how much pressure you could put on people who have their own lives to lead.
Yeah.
Your friends are obligated to be your friends, but they're not obligated to be your cheerleaders, right. Man.
Exactly.
It's nice when they are, but everybody has their own life, and I can speak to that as an artist. You can get so absorbed in yourself that you forget people have their own battles.
Yes, because you do start focusing on branding, and if you don't have a formal education, understand it's a very psychological thing. So you do start focusing on you as a brand and as an individual. That it is easy to like I'm the main character, right? Which it is a part you gotta play.
You have to be like that in a way, but you also have to not lose sight of the fact that people have real emotions and real lives and real things to tend to.
Yeah, and the people that want to help the most can't, and the people that sometimes have very little, they do as much. I mean, I learned that with some of my clients. I've had back and forth with pricing with people I know got it, and then I've had people that still do a 9 to 5, or they got to risk their freedom, or they got to do 2, 3 jobs that will pay my rate without any haggling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you can't measure people up. Like every individual has their own thing, but they have the battles. They have to go home and then explain to the wife or the mother or the person that they share responsibility with.
Yeah.
Like you spend. I can imagine as an artist justifying paying for a music video if you're not right at home, because then
Yeah.
that conversation sucks.
Absolutely.
Like if you celebrate it in public and hate it at home, it's a terrible place to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that I try to understand clients at that base, right?
But we all make sacrifices in our own
Oh
right,
yeah,
whether it's money or time.
I made my own sacrifices, and I'm here because of those sacrifices, and
Mm-hmm.
also what the things I said no to. And I'll never know what other situations may have turned into, but whatever it is, it did ended up with me making the moves I needed at the right time, and I don't feel compromised. And the only people I'm in debt to right now are the supporters, obviously investors, and the people that the crowdfunders and everybody that's pushed me. But I'm not attached to a company or someplace that I'm not being held. So I'm able to really
So you're truly
still
independent.
remain independent.
That's beautiful, man. That's a
Yes.
beautiful space to be in. And, I just, like I said, I seen you. We worked together a lot. For those of you who don't know, we shot a lot of music videos together. We traveled across the United States. And, we used to bump heads a lot. I'm passionate about my vision.
Yeah.
And you're the same about
Yeah.
yours. But,
It's a
over
nice
time,
workout, though.
yeah, it is, definitely. And we've come to understand each other. And I love what you do. And I love your storytelling. So, again, man, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
January 7th at the Klein Memorial is
Yes.
the premiere of Left. And
Absolutely.
again, I want you to tell the people, why they should be there.
So we talked about why you should, see the film in whichever manner you end up seeing it. We talked about that. Now, the premiere itself, the way we designed it is, it's a 4-hour event, right? We're gonna start with an hour and 15-minute red carpet creator hour, which is where my sponsors and all the businesses and everybody involved is gonna get to mingle, talk, recognize each other from the branding and start a conversation, take some photos, shake some hands. Then we're gonna move in and watch content. That is obviously the movie. There's some
Yes.
other stuff in the works, but it'll be a surprise. There's also going to be we're going to be honoring a few people. Also a kind of a surprise, but we're going to start announcing it soon. By the time you see this video, and a Q&A where we're going to have a moderator taking some of the most popular questions that we've been asked to a focus group, just so we can give people some insight into what it took and how we got it done. Then we'll open the floor for a few minutes for any questions that anybody may have. People get shy in the beginning. And then we'll have another hour at the end to kind of reconvene in the lobby, shake hands, talk again, businesses, introduce to other businesses. So I'm trying to scale what I did with my film, which was work with all these different businesses and
Yeah.
individuals, and then recreate that before and after the film.
I
So it's
love
an
that.
event.
I love that. So
Yeah.
you get to network, you get to meet some
Yes.
people, kiss some hands, shake some babies.
There we go. That's my way.
Yeah,
So,
man. But,
what I'm saying?
I'm looking forward to it, man. And again, I'm proud of you. And January 7th at the Klein Memorial, the world premiere of the film Left.
Yes.
And where can people see it if they don't make it to the premiere, brother?
So there's obviously Prime is going to be, Amazon Prime is one of the go-tos that I'm going to have it available, but there's like 7 other ones that I'm still closing with. And I'm going to have actually direct-to-consumer platform.
Okay.
A little early to announce where it's going to be based, but it's going to be on my website.
Okay.
And you can just go direct to consumer, which I love Prime. I love distributing companies that let us come in and put our content on. But now I have a fiduciary duty to make my investors whole. So I gotta put it direct to consumer, so we don't gotta split these proceeds with not Bezos. He's not even there anymore. We keep blaming Bezos for everything, but
Yeah. Whoever it is.
whoever it is,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Y'all don't need it. We need it.
we need it. We need it. But yeah, man, I can't thank you enough for having me and let me spill my piece about this film, because there's a lot to talk about.
That's what it's about, man. You got a
Yeah.
platform, I got a platform. So I just wanted to sit down and have a conversation with you where, I could expose it to my platform and have people really dive into, you know what it is that you're
Yes.
doing. And again, man, I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you again. Now let's talk about Vlad.
Surely the Holy One.
I ain't gonna tell you where I hit that gun.
Edwin Escobar, we out of here, man.
Thank you.